Imagine waking up one morning to the sound of explosions, not fireworks, not thunder, but the rumble of war. A war that you believed belonged to history books, a war that you thought your part of the world had left behind. Yet here it is, burning, growing, tearing apart lives. This is Ukraine. February 24th, 2022. The date the world held its breath. Russian forces flooded across borders from multiple directions, from Crimea, from Belarus, from the east, tanks, missiles, thousands of soldiers, and a people caught off guard, yet determined. This wasn't just another invasion. It was a declaration, a test of identity, sovereignty, and the very idea of modern Europe. But in order to truly understand what's happening, the why, the how, the cost, we have to rewind. Before 2022, before the full-scale invasion, because the roots of this war stretch deep into history, politics, language, and fear. What does it mean when one country says, "You are not who you think you are"? What does it feel like when your neighbor suddenly claims you belong to them, that your history is not yours? This video will take you through the origins of the war, the events that led to the invasion, the major battles, the human stories, the international reactions, and what it all might mean for the future. By the end, you'll see why this isn't just a conflict in Ukraine. It's a conflict that challenges the ideas of freedom, national identity, and what it means to live in a world where power can decide the fate of millions overnight. To understand today's triumphs, we need to rewind. Russia's unprovoked full-scale invasion on February 24th, 2022, caught the world off guard. Putin's special military operation aimed for a quick decapitation of Kiev, but Ukraine's fierce resistance turned it into a quagmire. By April 2022, Ukrainian forces had pushed back the invaders from Kiev's suburbs, inflicting heavy losses on Russia's elite units. That summer's counteroffensive reclaimed vast swaths of Kharkiv and Kherson oblasts, proving Ukraine could not only hold, but advance. Fast forward to 2024. Russia tried a desperate lunge into Kharkiv in May, capturing villages but stalling against Ukrainian defenses. Ukraine responded with ingenuity, long-range strikes on Russian oil refineries and Black Sea Fleet assets, sinking over a dozen warships and forcing the remnants to skulk in Sevastopol's shadows. By August 2024, in a masterstroke, Ukrainian forces launched a bold incursion into Russia's Kursk region, seizing over 1,000 square kilometers, including the town of Sudzha, and capturing thousands of Russian troops. This wasn't just a raid, it was a psychological gut punch, drawing Russian reserves from Donbass and exposing the Kremlin's vulnerabilities at home. Into 2025, the momentum has only grown. Despite brutal Russian barrages, like the October 5th missile and drone swarm of 53 missiles and 500 drones that Ukraine largely intercepted, Kiev's forces have stabilized fronts in Donetsk and advanced in Zaporizhzhia. General Oleksandr Syrskyi reported on October 4th that Russian assaults in Lyman and Chasiv Yar yielded no gains, with Moscow suffering 1,200 casualties in a single day. Ukraine's secret? Innovation. Homegrown drones, Western-supplied ATACMS, and Storm Shadow missiles have turned the tide, hitting high-value targets like the Sverdlov explosives plant in Nizhny Novgorod on October 6th, sparking massive fires. These aren't isolated wins. They're part of a strategy that's bleeding Russia dry. Russia's 2024 to 2025 offensives have been anything but. In Donetsk, slow grinds toward Pokrovsk have cost Moscow 226 square miles gained at the price of irreplaceable equipment. But even that's deceptive. Ukrainian counterstrikes have reclaimed key heights, turning Russian advances into Pyrrhic slogs. As one analyst put it, Russia's meat grinder tactics are devouring their own future. Let's zoom in on the wins that have the world buzzing. First, the Kursk offensive of August 2024 remains a landmark. Ukrainian paratroopers and mechanized units pierced Russian lines, holding territory larger than some NATO members. By September 2025, despite Russian counterattacks aided by North Korean cannon fodder, Ukraine controls strategic rail hubs, disrupting Moscow's logistics. This operation forced Putin to divert 50,000 troops from the east, easing pressure on Donbass and allowing Ukrainian advances there. In the Black Sea, Ukraine's naval drones have decimated Russia's fleet. Over 30% of the Black Sea fleet, including the Moskva's successor flagships, lies at the seabed, per Ukrainian Navy reports. Recent strikes on October 6th targeted Crimea's oil depots, igniting infernos that blacked out Sevastopol and halted fuel supplies to frontline units. No more unsinkable fortress, it's a floating graveyard. On land, Ukraine's 2025 counteroffensives in Zaporizhzhia and Kherson have reclaimed 150 square kilometers since June per ISW assessments. Precision artillery, guided by NATO intel, has neutralized Russian command posts, with reports of 47 high-ranking officers lost in September alone. And don't get me started on the air war. Ukraine's F-16s, arriving in July 2025, have downed 20-plus Su-35s, tilting the skies in Kyiv's favor. But it's the asymmetric warfare that's genius. Ukraine's drone swarms, over 1 million produced in 2025, have struck deep. Refineries in Tuapse and Volgograd, slashing Russia's fuel output by 15%. On October 3rd, a revenge strike on Belgorod and Bryansk power grids left Russian border regions in darkness, a taste of the blackouts Moscow inflicts on Ukraine. These hits aren't vengeance, they're strategy, starving Russia's war economy. Internationally, Ukraine's diplomatic wins amplify the military ones. The EU's €50 billion aid package in March 2025, plus US ATACMS deliveries, have supercharged defenses. Even neutrals like India are quietly boosting sanctions pressure, as Modi's government distances from Putin amid global outrage. Zelenskyy's UN speeches have rallied $100 billion in frozen Russian assets for reconstruction. A financial checkmate. Now, the ugly truth for Putin. Russia's paying an astronomical price. Casualties? Ukrainian estimates, corroborated by Western intel, peg Russian dead and wounded at over 700,000 by October 2025. That's 600 plus per day. In Chasiv Yar alone, October offensives cost 5,000 lives for negligible gains. Desertions are rampant. 20,000 troops fled Kursk in panic. Equipment losses are catastrophic. A June 2025 CSIS study tallies 1,149 armored fighting vehicles, 3,098 infantry carriers, and 300 self-propelled guns destroyed, more than Russia's Cold War stockpiles. Aviation, 400-plus aircraft gone, including 1,090 helicopters since 2022. Ukraine's traitor defectors, like the ex-commander now spilling secrets, reveal Russia's command chaos, with greatest failures in Pokrovsk. Economically, it's a dumpster fire. Sanctions have cratered GDP by 8% in 2025, with inflation at 20%. Oil revenues, Russia's lifeline, down 40% from drone hits on refineries, leading to gas station queues and black market chaos. Recruiting North Koreans? A desperate band-aid. They've suffered 1,000 casualties in Kursk, per leaks. Putin's buffer zone dreams? Laughable. Ukraine's strikes ensure Russia's borders burn. And the human cost? 1 million lives lost overall, mostly Russian conscripts thrown into the grinder. Protests simmer in Moscow, with elite families fleeing abroad. As one ex-post nailed it, Russia's not winning. They're collapsing under their own weight. As winter bites in October 2025, Ukraine gears up for the long haul, with F-16 squadrons expanding and EU training programs hitting full stride. Kyiv's poised for a 2026 spring push. Analysts predict Russian morale will crack first, mobilizations tapped out, with 4.5 million eligible men, but only half willing. Ukraine's economy? Rebounding at 4% growth, fueled by tech exports and reconstruction funds. The message to Putin, your empire's crumbling. To the world, double down on Ukraine. It's not charity, it's securing our future. Recent Al Jazeera reports confirm, despite a deadly strike in Zaporizhia on October 7th, killing 1, Ukraine's resolve hardens, with 11 injured but spirits unbroken. From the trenches of Kursk to the skies over Crimea, Ukraine's proving that freedom fights smartest. Russia's losses aren't numbers. They're the death knell of an aggressor's dream. We've highlighted the heroes, exposed the hubris. What do you think? Will 2026 see Kiev's full liberation? Drop your thoughts below. Like if you're Team Ukraine, and subscribe for weekly deep dives. Stay informed, stay fierce. Off the records. See you next time.